The top stories tonight in Y News. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. reiterates that he would not allow any foreign power to take even 1 square inch of the country's territory.
An opposition lawmaker shares that it remains premature to file a petition against the proposed economic charter change before the Supreme Court.
Former National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict spokesperson Lorraine Badoy apologized to the Supreme Court in the wake of her recent conviction for indirect contempt.
And we will discover why Prince Harry faced a setback in court over the loss of his security protection.
Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Thursday, February 29, 2024. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. I am Joselito Liquido.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. I am Mavian Dog.
First in the news. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. faced the Parliament of Australia earlier this morning. The issue of security and value of rule of law and the Indo-Pacific region was at the center of President Marcos' address to the officials of Australia. Nel Maribohok reports.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. reiterated that he would not allow any foreign power to take even 1 square inch of the country's territory. During his address before the Australian Parliament in Canberra, President Marcos said he remains firm in defending the Philippines' sovereignty and thanked Australia for its support amid tensions in the South China Sea.
We remain firm in defending our sovereignty, our sovereign rights, our jurisdiction. I shall never tire of repeating the declaration that I made from the first day that I took office. I will not allow any attempt by any foreign power to take even 1 square inch of our sovereign territory. The challenges that we face may be formidable, but equally formidable is our resolve. We will not yield.
PBBM also said the Philippines and Australia should oppose actions that clearly denigrate the rule of law, as he sought for the latter's support in addressing challenges in the Indo-Pacific region.
Once again, we must come together as partners to face the common challenges confronting the region. Not one single country can do this by itself. No single force can counter them by themselves.
Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese recognizes the shared desire of both countries to advance peace in the Indo-Pacific region.
Australia and the Philippines are in the same boat, and we share a vision for our destination: a peaceful, secure, stable, and prosperous Indo-Pacific.
The president said Australia plays a crucial role as one of the Philippines' only 2 partners with which the country has a visiting forces agreement. He added Australia remains steadfast in its commitment to Asia and the Indo-Pacific community. Nel Maribohok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
An opposition lawmaker says it is still premature to file petition against the economic charter change before the Supreme Court. According to House Deputy Minority Leader, ACT Teachers Party List Representative Franz Castro, the contents of resolutions of both Houses number 6 and 7, as well as the proceedings of deliberations, are questionable. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
House Deputy Minority Leader and ACT Teachers Party List Representative Franz Castro believes it is still too early to question before the Supreme Court the economic charter change being pushed by the current administration. Currently, the House of Representatives Committee of the Whole is deliberating on resolution of both houses number 7, while the Senate Subcommittee on Constitutional Amendments and Revision of Codes is discussing resolution of both houses number 6. Both aim to lift economic restrictions of the Philippine Constitution on public utilities, education, and advertising. Representative Castro, reflecting on the recent 3-day deliberation of the House Committee of the Whole on RBH 7, raises pertinent concerns. She highlights discrepancies within the proposed resolution, notably provisions that seemingly clash with Article 2, Section 19 of the Constitution. Moreover, she scrutinizes the procedural aspects surrounding RBH 7. However, it is still premature to file a petition before the Supreme Court because both houses have yet to approve the resolution.
Kapag nangyaring matapos na halimbawa ang House of Representatives na ipasa na tong House RBH 7, sa bahagi naman ng Senado ay yung RBH 6 at magkaroon na ng sinasabing batas subject for referendum, parang doon sinasabi ng mga legal luminaries na doon pa lang pwede ma-question ito ng Supreme Court yung naging procedure and even doon sa content ng RBH. So premature pa talaga ngayon kung sakali na merong magpa-file ng petition sa Supreme Court.
Meanwhile, another opposition Solon has questioned the number of House lawmakers participating in the Committee of the Whole proceedings for RBH 7.
Mapapansin nyo rin naman, di ba dapat 60 plus ang sumama sa Committee of the Whole? Ang nangyayari po, pag umaabot na kami ng ilang oras at gabi na, natitira po doon Makabayan Block. So, gusto ko lang sabihin na hindi dapat ganon, di ba? Sa Committee of the Whole, dapat Committee of the Whole ang nagdi-discuss dahil yan ay tinutulak nilang measure.
The House of Representatives Committee of the Whole aims to finish its deliberations on the measure next week. Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
A lawmaker urges several government agencies to improve its aid distribution. This comes after Senator J.V. Ejercito exposed the alleged scam in San Juan City, where some local government officials allegedly extort the TUPAD program aid of the Department of Labor and Employment, or DOLE, from its beneficiaries. Ejercito believes DOLE and the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, should ensure that beneficiaries will receive financial aid in full. He also urges the two agencies to study formulating an exit mechanism for beneficiaries.
Hindi po ako against sa mga ayuda at sa mga programa ngayon, but this should be temporary. Again, dapat mag-graduate into something that is sustainable. Ang maganda siguro kung lagyan ng halimbawa ang TUPAD, dapat may training, pasukan niya ng training or skills development para po pag-graduate nila, they will now be eligible for jobs and opportunities. Kaya ako nabanggit na ayuda mentality, kahit saan kayo umiko, talagang gano'n na, lalo pag eleksyon, yun ang inaantay na ngayon. Yung iba, hindi na po nagtatrabaho.
He also believes politicians should no longer be involved in aid distribution. However, he admits he is guilty of this at times, saying that local officials usually invite them to join distributing aid.
Kaya lang ako, siguro guilty rin minsan doon sa mga humihingi ng AIX or TUPAD programs in other local government units. Kaya lang minsan, sila po yung nag-iimbita. No? Halimbawa, may scheduled visit ang isang legislator. Ako po, itataon po nila yung payout para daw ma-appreciate nung malaman daw ng mga tao. Ideally, I think mas maganda kung hindi na pumipicture yung mga politiko para talagang maging mas epektibo yung mga programa.
Meanwhile, Senator Amy Marcos, who attends aid distribution herself, believes there is nothing wrong for local officials to help in the aid distribution.
Ako yung chair na ako yung vice chair dyan sa DSWD budget, nakukumbida ako sa mga OSCA, EFSCA, yung mga senior citizen, na-invite ako. Importante sa akin dahil kailangan ko marinig sa kanila, natatanggap ba ninyo? Or may awas ba yan? Imposible na hindi ako pupunta. Ang pangit lang talaga, pag pinakialaman ng listahan, ibang usapan yon. Layo-layo pa ng eleksyon. Naku naman, sobra namang lapit na ng eleksyon, parang na-agitate tayo. Napakarami kasing programa na lumalabas. Ayoko naman na mauwi tayong lahat sa ayuda mentality.
The Land Transportation Office, or LTO, is set to propose to the Department of Transportation the mandatory registration and acquisition of driver's license for individuals operating light e-vehicles. This includes e-bikes and e-trikes. JP Nunez will tell us why.
The Land Transportation Office, or LTO, conducted public consultation as mandated by its mother agency, the Department of Transportation, or DOTR. It is to know the sentiment of stakeholders who will be affected if they implement a stricter guidelines in using light e-vehicles such as e-bike and e-trike. According to LTO, they will propose to the Department of Transportation the mandatory registration and acquisition of driver's licenses for individuals operating light e-vehicles, including e-bikes and e-trikes. This aims to minimize danger in using e-trike and e-bike by uneducated drivers of traffic rules and regulations. The agency cited the Republic Act 4136, or the Land Transportation Code, as their basis where all motor vehicles should be registered and drivers should have their license.
Oras na ginamit sa public highways yan, it is our mandate under the law na kailangan registered yan.
Ang definition po ng public highways, not necessarily national road, pati ho roads that are funded or maintained by the government, or whether local government or national government. Kailangan rehistrado po yan.
However, according to a transportation advocate group, Move as One Coalition, the proposal of LTO is rash and it can have negative effect to those who wants to take advantage of the low emission type of vehicles.
Once you require yung additional, halimbawa, registration, licensing, yung mga iba, syempre madi-discourage. We want to have equivalent treatment sana po na yung bisikleta at yung electric bicycle. There should be no distinction.
The group also mentioned that four-wheeled vehicles poses more danger than light e-vehicles. Instead of restricting light e-vehicles on the national road, drivers should be educated as roads must be shared to all types of vehicles.
One thing which we must remember, the overwhelming source of road crashes are four-wheeled motor vehicles.
JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And for the news abroad, Prince Harry's legal challenge over his UK security arrangements has been dismissed by the High Court. The Duke of Sussex argued that his security downgrade was unfair, but the court ruled that the decision was lawful. RK Liorca will give us the details live. Yes, RK?
Good evening, Osalito. Harry, who stepped down as a working royal in 2020, had his security status reduced to a case-by-case basis, on which he claimed that this left him vulnerable to security threats, including paparazzi harassment. This challenged Harry to file a security case to the High Court, seeking assurances for the safety of himself and his family. However, the court dismissed his case, citing a sound decision-making process and a lack of evidence of irrationality. The judge also rejected claims of procedural unfairness, asserting that it wouldn't have altered the outcome. Prince Harry's legal team announced plans to appeal the decision, arguing that the committee responsible for security arrangements failed to adhere to its own rules and that the best vote for Prince Harry wasn't justified. Nevertheless, the Home Office welcomed the court's ruling, affirming the UK's protective security system as rigorous and proportionate. Despite the setback, Prince Harry continues to voice concerns about his safety and that of his family. Most recently, he released a video advocating for awards for children with complex health needs, underscoring the importance of security for those facing challenges. In 2020, the Duke and Duchess Harry and his wife Meghan left the UK for United States, saying they wanted space to raise their children, but controversy says it is to mask the issue for royal ruling of marriage. Back to you, Joselito.
Thank you, RK Yorko, reporting live from Thailand. We'll share more global stories with you later.
For those watching our live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Former National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict spokesperson Lorraine Badoy apologized to the Supreme Court. This comes in the wake of her recent conviction for indirect contempt by the highest court in the land. However, Badoy maintains that she did not threaten anyone. Jed Neresina tells us why.
The Supreme Court found former National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict or NTF-LCAC spokesperson Lorraine Badoy guilty of indirect contempt and meted her 30,000 fine. This is over the recent statements by the former official against Manila City Regional Trial Court Judge Marlo Magdosa Malagar. Malagar dismissed the Department of Justice or DOJ's petition to declare the CPP-NPA as terrorists. In her recent social media post, Badoy accused Judge Malagar as friend of the Communist Party of the Philippines or the CPP-NPA-NDF. And if she allegedly killed the judge out of her political belief, then the court should be lenient with her. She also invoked her right to speech. In the court ruling penned by Senior Associate Justice Marivic Leonen, the court said Badoy's statements were beyond objective criticism of the court's decision. They were clear declarations that the court was personally motivated to rule in favor of the winning party of the CPP-NPA. Hence, Badoy apologized to the High Tribunal.
I would like to apologize to the highest court in the land for the language, for the intemperate language and the tenor I took. I hear them, but I maintain that I never threatened anyone with harm. I am not a terrorist. The CPP, NPA, NDF is.
However, she maintained that she did not threaten anyone and will continue to fight against the communist groups.
Sa mga eskwela mismo, no, diyan ang mga recruiters, nasa loob mismo. Gusto pa ba natin yon? Hindi na pwede yon.
Jed Neresina, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Department of Social Welfare and Development, DSWD, has allocated more than 1.4 billion pesos for its 2024 budget aimed at mitigating the impacts of the El Niño phenomenon. According to Maria Isabel Lanada, DSWD Special Assistant to the Secretary for Special Projects, this budget will support initiatives such as the Local Adaptation to Water Access, Project LAWA, and Breaking Insufficiency Through Nutritious Harvest for the Impoverished, Project Binhi. The beneficiaries targeted by these projects include families of farmers, fisherfolk, indigenous people, and other communities vulnerable to the climate and disaster risks. These initiatives are designed as proactive interventions and sustainable solutions to combat hunger, alleviate poverty, and reduce economic vulnerability exacerbated by the climate change and disasters. Project LAWA and Project Binhi will offer learning and development sessions on climate change, adaptations, and mitigations, as well as disaster risk reduction. Additionally, they will provide Cash for Work or CFW and Cash for Training or CFT opportunities to beneficiaries in priority areas affected by the impacts of El Niño.
1.4 billion plus, no? So yun po yun. At yun ho ang gagamitin natin sa Cash for Training and Cash for Work para sa ating 294 municipalities and cities at para po yan sa ating 58 provinces. So, all over the country.
A lawmaker is in high hopes that the newly enacted Expanded Centenarians Act will still be funded this year. Senator Amy Marcos says the law will only require 2.4 billion pesos for this year. She assures to do her best to source for fund so that octogenarians and nonagenarians who will reach 80, 85, 90, and 95 this year will be able to receive their 10,000 peso cash gift.
Pinagdadasal ko. Kasi right now, it's just been passed and alam naman natin tapos na yung budget. Sarado na yung budget, kumbaga. Yun nga lang, kung maswertehan natin na may savings o may pagkukunang iba, sana ito na ang bigyan ng prioridad. Mas makulit ako. So talagang hahanapan ko hanggat kaya. Meron na may 187 million na para sa centenarian. Dagdagan pa ng konti para hindi bitin.
The Department of Health in Cordillera Region is issuing crucial reminder to the public to adhere to health protocols amidst the haze resulting from the recent forest fires and grass fires. The haze generated by these fires poses significant risks, including air pollution, which can lead to respiratory tract infections and cardiac ailments. In February 2024 alone, CAR recorded more than 10 incidents of forest and grass fires, underscoring the urgent need for vigilance and precautionary measures. Health authorities emphasize that individuals experiencing symptoms such as difficulty in breathing, cough, chest pain, increased tearing of the eyes, or nose and throat irritation should seek medical attention promptly at the nearest health center. Regional Director Pangilinan further advises households residing near forested or grassy areas to remain vigilant and prepared to implement protective measures should fires break out. Moreover, all public transport operators, employees, private individuals, and motorists are urged to exercise caution and drive with care, particularly when visibility is low due to haze. It is recommended to switch on headlights to enhance visibility and ensure safe travel during these challenging conditions.
Representatives from various labor groups convened to emphasize their proposed wage increase for Filipino workers in the private sector. They assert that if their demand is met, it would not significantly contribute to inflationary pressures. Jed Neresina details why.
Isa batas. Dagdag sahod.
The House Labor Committee discussed a demand yesterday, February 28, for a wage increase for Filipino workers in the private sector. As representatives of labor groups claim, the said 150 pesos additional wage in House Bill 514 and 7871 proposal is wage recovery. It implies that it is only compensation for wages lost by workers as a result of national inflation. The president of Bukluran ng Manggagawang Pilipino, Luke Espiritu, also explained that the inflation rate would not increase if their request for wage increase was approved.
Kung ang sahod na ibibigay sa manggagawa mas mataas sa kanyang pangangailangan, inflationary yon. Dahil bibili siya ng mas maraming goods lagpas sa kanyang pangangailangan.
If this occurs, he said there would be only a rise in demand for goods that workers have not previously purchased. Espiritu added that the price of commodities will increase, and this is where inflation will exist or begin.
Never mangyayari ang ganyang senaryo kung ang sweldo ng manggagawa ay di hamak na mas mababa sa kanyang pangangailangan. Dahil kahit gaano kaliit ang sweldo ng manggagawa, gagastusin niya pa rin ang kanyang pangangailangan.
He stressed that workers' demand is fixed to their needs. According to the Ibon Foundation, a worker needs 1,193 pesos for his daily needs. However,
Even if their salary is only 610 pesos, this is still the cost they have to meet. As a result, all they need to do is find a way. This could involve taking out a loan, getting an extra sideline or income, or working overtime. Jed Neresina, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The International Criminal Court, or ICC, judges ruled on Wednesday, February 28, that nearly 50,000 victims of the Ugandan militia commander Dominic Ongwen are entitled to over 52 million euros or $56 million in compensation, marking a record reparations order. Ongwen, a former child soldier who became a top commander of the Lord's Resistance Army, or LRA, rebels, lacks the means to pay the compensation himself. Therefore, the tribunal's trust fund for victims will assist in covering the costs. Victims will receive symbolic individual payments of 750 euros each, along with collective reparations such as rehabilitation programs and memorial sites. Convicted in 2021 on 60 counts of war crimes and crimes against humanity, including rape and murder, Ongwen is serving a 25-year sentence in Norway. Led by fugitive warlord Joseph Kony, the LRA terrorized Uganda for nearly 2 decades with attacks on refugee camps and abduction of women and children to serve as soldiers or sex slaves. While the militia has largely been dismantled, Kony remains a wanted fugitive. Lois Lacour, who was abducted by the LRA as a child, expressed doubts about the compensation's adequacy, highlighting the inability of money to fully address the trauma endured by victims. However, they caution that execution may be delayed and funding from the trust fund for victims might fall short of the ordered amount.
Despite the rapid expansion of its nuclear inventory, China calls for countries with the largest arsenals to negotiate a treaty on no first use of nuclear weapons against each other. This report details why. The United Nations Conference on Disarmament was established in 1979 to prevent nuclear war and emerged as the primary multilateral forum for global weapons regulation for member states. During the forum's weekly meeting in Geneva, Switzerland on Monday, February 26, Sun Shaobo, the Director General of China's Foreign Ministry's Arms Control Department, called on nuclear states to fulfill the responsibilities he deemed special and priority. This after Sun described the changing dynamics between nations, with some repeatedly breaking treaties to keep superiority. Sun emphasized the need for a definitive roadmap or timetable for an international legal body that would protect non-nuclear countries from the threat of nuclear weapons. Additionally, Sun urged for a universal, non-discriminatory export control order to promote more compliance in the biochemistry field, to uphold the authority of the Arms Control Treaty system, and address challenges to global security. Currently, Russia and the United States have the largest nuclear arsenals in the world, with China and India being the only 2 nuclear powers to maintain a formal no-first-use policy. Mavian Dog, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe.
The Ombudsman Graft Busters and DNR Warriors will now be vying for a single ticket to the semifinals of the UNTV Cup Season 10 after emerging victorious in their respective matches yesterday. Meanwhile, the defending champion AFP Cavaliers secured their spot in the semifinals. JP Nunez details why.
The journey towards a back-to-back championship seems ever closer for the defending champions, the AFP Cavaliers, after securing the third ticket to the semi-finals in a nail-biting clash against the Senate Defenders at the Nova Desi Convention Center in Quezon City. The game started with a bang as Darwin Cordero showcased his prowess in outside shooting, hitting 2 out of 4 3-pointers and scoring 8 points in the first quarter alone. Despite the Cavaliers' initial lead, a buzzer beater by GK Sevilla tied the game at 19 points apiece. The second quarter saw a tight back-and-forth battle with Harry Pitillos leading the Senate's offense with 7 points. However, the Cavaliers managed to take a slim 1-point lead, ending the quarter at 39-38. In the third quarter, it was the Senate's turn to take the lead by just 1 point, with the score standing at 54-55, with Clark Torrente leading the defenders with 8 points. As the game entered the final quarter, the Senate built an 8-point lead, 69-61, with under 4.5 minutes remaining. However, the AFP staged an impressive 7-0 run to narrow the gap to just 1 point, trailing 68-69 with 1 minute and 14 seconds left on the clock. A long 2-pointer off the glass from the Senate's Macabasco extended their lead to 3 points, making it 68-71. But the AFP quickly responded with a 2-pointer from Cordero, bringing the score to 70-71. In the final moments of the game, with just 2.7 seconds remaining, Edgar Castro's crucial putback secured the victory for the AFP Cavaliers. Despite the Senate's attempt to call a play, the AFP's tight defense prevented the defenders from making any last-minute advances to secure their spot in the semi-finals. The final score stood at 72-71, with the AFP Cavaliers emerging triumphant. Edgar Castro was hailed as the best player of the game for his stellar performance, contributing 14 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 steals.
Actually, ang hirap kasi sunod-sunod yung game bago yung mga players pa namin. Medyo, alam nyo na, medyo oldies na. Kaya ang hirap sa amin nung recover, siguro kaya nagkakaganon yung game namin. Yung muscle recovery namin, ang tagal bago makabalik. Nag-adjust lang kami sa depensa. Sabi nga namin ni Coach Eugene, even Coach Jeff, na kailangan dumipensa kami na madaing. Kung hindi, kakainin kami. Lucky enough na nakinig naman yung mga players, ginawa naman yung kung dapat gawin. Yun, nakuha namin yung win for the game.
Breaks of the game. Na-offensive rebound nila, na-basket nila. Pagbalik sa amin, hindi namin na-shoot yung last possession namin. Tapos ang oras.
With this win, the AFP Cavaliers advance to the semi-finals, where they will face off against the Department of Agriculture Food Masters. In the second game, the Ombudsman Graph Busters refused to let the GSIS Furies claim victory, ultimately triumphing with a final score of 88-67. Samuel Ignacio led the charge with a double-double performance, tallying 20 points and 15 rebounds, while Yurick Florino contributed 19 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 steals.
In-assess namin itong game namin as one of our championship games. Kailangan namin talaga Pag natalo pa kami, magkita-kita lang siguro tayo next year. Pero nakita ko rin yung mga players, credit to sa mga players, sa mga seasoned coaches ko. Siyempre, sa mga boss namin sa Ombudsman, na talagang minotivate yung mga players, talaga in-assess lahat, ano yung mga needs, andyan sila para sa amin. Ako naman, as a coach, pinag-aralan lang namin kung ano yung pwede namin gawin as GSIS. Malakas ang GSIS.
We were short-handed in this game. Talagang kulang yung players namin because of injuries, and I think we still fought a good fight. Yung players still showed heart on how we're playing until the end of the game, so nothing to be ashamed of. We're looking at yung next game namin to win our last game in the UNTV tournament.
At this point, the GSIS Furies have been eliminated from the tournament. Nonetheless, their journey to the quarterfinals marks their best performance since joining the league, showcasing their competitive prowess. Meanwhile, the Ombudsman Graftbusters must secure a victory in their knockout game against the DENR Warriors on Sunday to claim the last remaining spot in the semi-finals. In the third game, the DENR Warriors emerged victorious over the NHA Home Masters in a closely contested match, ending with a final score of 102-95. Alfie Grijaldo was hailed as the best player of the game, showcasing an outstanding performance with 30 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 assists. With an 8-7 win-loss record, the chances of the NHA Home Masters advancing to the semi-finals appear slim. Conversely, the DENR Warriors still have a chance to improve their standing with a win-loss record of 9-6, keeping their hopes alive for a semi-final berth.
Well, mental toughness, I guess. Nothing to lose attitude, and then gave the players all the best na talent nila, binigay na nila. So, hands off to the players, talagang binigay nila lahat para makapanalo kami this evening. So also, thank you sa mga coaching staff. Ang galing ng coaching staff kasi we were able to motivate the players. Importante yun na ma-motivate sila to perform to the highest level.
JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Our kasangbahay. As the world faces these trying times amid various challenges and uncertainties, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity from Monday to Friday, 9:30 p.m. Philippine time through the social media accounts of the members Church of God International.
And before we close, we will leave you with the word giving glory to God from the book of 1 John chapter 2 verse 1. It says, "My little children, these things write I unto you, that ye sin not. And if any man sin, we have an advocate with the Father, Jesus Christ the righteous." And those are the reasons behind the news, February 29, 2024. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am Maven Dog, live from Australia.
Because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am Joselito Liquido, live from Malaysia. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
We remain firm in defending our sovereignty, our sovereign rights, our jurisdiction. I shall never tire of repeating the declaration that I made from the first day that I took office. I will not allow any attempt by any foreign power to take even 1 square inch of our sovereign territory. The challenges that we face may be formidable, but equally formidable is our resolve. We will not yield.
Kapag nangyaring matapos na halimbawa ang House of Representatives na ipasa na tong House RB 87, sa bahagi naman ng Senado ay yung RB 86 at magkaroon na ng sinasabing batas subject for referendum, parang doon sinasabi ng mga legal luminaries na doon pa lang pwede ma-question ito ng Supreme Court, yung naging procedure and even doon sa content ng RBA. So premature pa talaga ngayon kung sakali na merong magpa-file ng ng petition sa Supreme Court.
Kaya lang ako, siguro guilty rin minsan doon sa mga humihingi ng AIX or tupad programs in other local government units. Kaya lang minsan, sila po yung nag-iimbita. No? Halimbawa, may scheduled visit ang isang legislator. Ako po, itataon po nila yung payout para daw ma-appreciate nung malaman daw ng mga tao. Ideally, I think mas maganda kung hindi na pumipicture yung mga politiko para talagang maging mas epektibo yung mga programa.
Oras na ginamit sa public highways yan, it is our mandate under the law na kailangan registered yan.
Ang definition po ng public highways, not necessarily national road. Pati ho, roads that are funded or maintained by the government, or whether local government or national government. Kailangan rehistrado po yan.
Once you require yung additional, halimbawa, registration, licensing, yung mga iba, syempre madi-discourage. We want to have equivalent treatment sana po na yung bisikleta at yung electric bicycle, there should be no distinction.
I would like to apologize to the highest court in the land for the language, for the intemperate language and the tenor I took. I hear them, but I maintain that I never threatened anyone with harm. I am not a terrorist. The CPP, NPA, NDF is. Sa mga eskwela mismo, no, diyan ang mga recruiters, nasa loob mismo. Gusto pa ba natin yon? Hindi na pwede yon.
Pinagdadasal ko. Kasi right now, it's just been passed and alam naman natin tapos na yung budget. Sarado na yung budget, kumbaga. Yun nga lang, kung maswertehan natin na may savings o may pagkukunang iba, sana ito na ang bigyan ng prioridad. Mas makulit ako. So talagang hahanapan ko hanggat kaya.
Kung ang sahod na ibibigay sa manggagawa mas mataas sa kanyang pangangailangan, inflationary yun. Dahil bibili siya ng mas maraming goods lagpas sa kanyang pangangailangan. Never mangyayari ang ganyang senaryo kung ang sweldo ng manggagawa ay di hamak na mas mababa sa kanyang pangangailangan. Dahil kahit gaano kaliit ang sweldo ng manggagawa, gagastusin niya pa rin ang kanyang pangangailangan.
We were short-handed in this game. Talagang kulang yung players namin because of injuries, and I think we still fought a good fight. Yung players still showed heart on how we're playing until the end of the game, so nothing to be ashamed of. We're looking at yung next game namin to win our last game in the UNTV tournament.